All right, guys, welcome back to Maury's Music. And this is an episode we'd like to call NAMM 2021 Believe in Music. This is the time of year where people like Spoon Phillips and myself would visit the Martin factory and check out all the new models, get some good lunches, a hobnob with some really cool people, and really get to know all the new stuff. And this year, it's just not safe. We really have to keep social distancing. Spoon and I have not been in the same area code for many, many months, and it's a really sad thing. But the NAMM show is determined to help us try to bridge the gap and make something out of nothing. Martin Guitar is taken as seriously as NAMM is, and it's just the time of year where we have to do a lot of this stuff virtually. And it's one of those things where if we can't be there in person, we have to do what we can to talk about, learn about, and just discuss these great new Martin guitars. Martin has a lot of new offerings that they're bringing to the table for NAMM 2021. Believe in Music Week starts now. It's something that a lot of people, really, it's people that wanted to go to the NAMM show. This is really the next best thing, for better or worse. So I do want to invite you guys to ask us any questions you might have. We don't have the guitars literally here just yet. They're on their way. Before long, Maury's Music will have many, if not all, these new models to actually do some good videos, in-depth reviews. It's not quite ready to do that yet, but I do want to invite you guys to log on to Believe in Music. If you go on Facebook or social media, you'll find a link. You have to register to Believe in Music to check out. It's going to be a lot of the virtual booths. If you've ever been to the NAMM show, this is basically, you're going to walk from one booth to another with your mouse, not in real life. So it's not exactly as good as it could be, but we're going to make it as good as you could hope it could be. And without further ado, I want to introduce my very special guest. He goes by many names. He is the wind beneath my wings. Would you please welcome my friend Spoon Phillips to the stage?
He's in the building!
Spoon, we couldn't do this without you.
Well, thanks. That's a very warm welcome indeed from chilly Coaldale, Pennsylvania.
Well, you warm me up. I've been cold all day, and as soon as 5:45 rolled around and you still hadn't called me, between 5:45 5:55 I was still chilly, but at 5:57, when you took it upon yourself to connect with me about my 6 o'clock show, it got really warm really fast. So thank you very much. All kidding aside, I miss you dearly. I honestly took it for granted how much fun we would have. We had the run of the place. We could just go to Martin. We spent so much time those weekends. It was Thursday through Sunday. We would literally just wake up, eat at Tommy's, go to Martin, spend the whole day there, spend the whole evening here doing videos, rinse and repeat. And I didn't know how good that was until it was taken away from me. So not to get sappy, but I really do miss being with you, and I hope you're dealing with the pandemic as good as you can.
Well, thanks. I'm here in what I used to call my space station, shut down, lockdown space station in Brooklyn, New York. But I'm right by a big park, so that makes it easier. Though truth be told, Maury and I just saw each other at Aaron Short's show, YouTube show, although just in the chat room. So he knew I was going to be showing up eventually. But yes, this is a week that so many of us look forward to every year. And this is the first time that I am not going to be at the Martin factory on Thursday and or Friday shooting my own personal videos of the new Martins I really don't know how many years it's been, but it's going on 20 years.
Wow.
Since I would do that. It started out with me just showing up on my own to play the new models when they set it out in the lobby, and then I started taking some video and just putting it on YouTube, and then I started bringing an actual camcorder, and it just sort of went from there. And originally my friends at Martin started putting me in a hallway so I could have better sound without all the people playing the guitars. And then somebody had the bright idea, a good friend of mine at Martin had the bright idea of approaching the powers that be about letting me use their private sound room where they do all their sound testing. And so, but this is the first time in many years that I won't be able to do that. And, not to mention you and I getting to sit down to have lunch with Tim Teal or other people from Martin and get the sort of inside scoop on the, get a very personal insider explanation about the new models and some cool stuff sometimes that we can't even talk about. But yeah, very, but at the same time, first world problems. We're very fortunate to have our health. We're very fortunate to both be living in communities that are being sensible about this horrible worldwide pandemic. And I can't wait to get to Coaldale and be able to shoot videos again for Mars Music and have breakfast at Tommy's.
Well, I feel the same way, and I want to say hi to our friends in the chat. I let a couple of things pass me by really quickly, but I see Cookies here, 3-Card Monty, Aaron Short, Jeannie Peffer, Marco is here. Hello there. If we forgot to say hi in the beginning, please say hello again. We're going to start things off by...
Cookie. I know you're staying up late to see a little of this. I think you can probably watch it in relay tomorrow because time is it in France? It's got to be 1 a.m. I would think. So,
somebody
thanks for sticking around.
Night, Marco. Hey, Jack Wickwire, I know you. So let's start things off by taking a look at probably the most interesting guitar to me, and I'm biased because I spent some time with him and Aaron. Aaron Short, if you're not familiar, does a really nice, I want to say a really good show on Mondays, but this is the wrong week to say that because this week he's doing a really good show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and into next week. But please do subscribe to Aaron Short. It's youtube.com/Aaron Short Music. And we got to talk with Robert Getzel. And I had a really cool joke, Spoon, that I didn't spend on air, and I'd like to try it now. Would you give me a minute to see if you think this is funny? Robert gets a lot of compliments on his art.
He's in the building!
Let's go to the first guitar. All right.
That's true, Maureen. When are you going to tell the joke?
Shut up. All right. First up, the double O-L Earth, and I should probably say this is a bone of contention with lots of people. Maybe it's the double Ot-L Earth. Before we start talking about that Earth, what do you think, double O or double Ot?
Double knot. But yes, I've heard old guys that are now retired, and some of them are no longer with us, but would say knot, double knot. But most people at the factory say double Ot. I have always said double O because it just kind of rolls off the mouth, and I think a lot of people did around the country until people actually started to hear people from Martin saying double Ot. But yes, double Ot L, it's their long double Ot. That's where the L comes from, and it's referring to the slope shoulders. So it's taking their slope shoulder idea of their original 12-fret guitar designs that they made exclusively up until basically the 1930s. There were a couple of special dealer models they made in the 20s that were the precursor to their modern 14-fret for one particular dealer, I think Wurlitzer. But anyway, enough history lesson. This is a guitar about the future. And I'm looking very forward to playing this myself. I've heard people at Martin playing it for me over like this. But yes, this is solid mahogany back and sides and neck. Actually, African mahogany of some sort. I'm pretty sure this prototype that we're seeing in the photos is Sapelli. The entire edition might be Sapelli, but beautiful. I don't know if you have a shot of the back, but really beautiful, perfect copper ribbing that Sapelli is famous for, with a lot of beautiful cotton. Well, there we are, copper sheen, really gorgeous. And they're quite proud of this model. They're proud of the fact there's no plastic involved, and they really went through the entire thing to make sure that none of the finish and resin and anything else would be contradictory to this tribute to the efforts towards sustainability. And the new Martin Journal of the American Guitar, almost the entire issue is dedicated to sustainability, with a really beautiful piece that Chris Martin wrote, and multiple articles about it, including one about this beautiful guitar that Robert did this amazing painting, watercolor and mixed media painting, I think watercolor and color pencil, that was ultimately printed on the top, the solid Sitka spruce top, all Forestry Stewardship Council certified woods. The FSC is a nonprofit organization worldwide that works to encourage and make sure that people are treating the forests in a responsible manner. Not just the forests, not just the logging, but also treating the indigenous populations of these forests well as the wildlife, as well as the workers who work for the companies that harvest the natural resources involved. And I think it's a great idea. I'm really hoping this leads to a future series. They've done FSC certified wood models here and there, but this is a major step forward. I know Chris Martin is really happy with it, and we will definitely be seeing more of this in the future.
Oh yeah, and I should ask you, and I know I might not be able to say everything I want to say on camera, but as a dealer, I heard about this guitar before I saw it, obviously, and I had it in my mind, and we looked down a spec sheet, and we're expecting to see these guitars are going to come out on this date, and we're going to get the list. So I got the list in an email. I just kind of counted it up and made sense of it. And then I saw the pictures, and my first reaction was, oh, it's got art on it. I didn't realize it was going to be a Robert Getzel. I thought it might be just a plain Sitka top, and it completely caught me by surprise. And a moment after I saw the picture, I thought, well, that makes perfect sense. What did you know about the design before the actual guitar came to market?
I knew that it was in the works, and I knew that Robert was going to be involved somehow, but I wasn't sure what it was going to be. And I love the fact that it's the 00L. I think ever since the CO7 came out, that was the first guitar to use that shape. I think it's a very successful model. I like the 00L 17s that outlasted the normal 14 fret 00 17s. And I think that rounder shoulder does actually give a little bigger body sound in the low mids and the bass, which can be important with a short scale. The body size is actually in between the traditional 14 fret double knot and the triple knot, and but it's still a short scale, so it's still got a really comfortable neck. And I like the fact it's got a straight bridge that kind of harkens to the 17 series, mm-hmm. which is a wood lover series too, where they use a very thin finish, and you can actually feel the finish of the 17s is so thin you can actually feel the wood grain in your hand. And I don't know if that's what they're using on this guitar, if this has that same finish, but I believe it probably is.
Oh yeah, and I really think it's probably, if you remember yesterday on Aaron's program, I think you were in the chat, I was comparing this guitar most closely to a CEO7, but you made a better point. It really is like a 17 series. If anybody likes this idea and wants to put it in their mind what it might be most similar to, I think you made a really good point. If I remember it correctly, this is a lot like a 17 series in a CEO7's body.
Yeah, and a Sapelli or a Sapili, however you are in the world where they pronounce it that way, is a relatively low density mahogany. So the guitar is quite light, and so it gives you that sense of an old-fashioned guitar from the early 20th century. I just think it's a beautiful instrument. I know some people aren't crazy about, fancy artwork on guitar. Some people don't even want to see pearl on guitar or whatever. Like I said, I have a feeling we're going to see more FSC earth style guitars that will probably have plain tops. And but this is I'm not sure how many of these they're making, but I have a feeling it might even be an open-ended edition because they're basically custom making for the dealers. The dealers are just starting to order them this week. That'll determine how many they're going to make. And but as long as people keep ordering them, they'll probably keep making them.
Yeah, and if anybody's afraid this might go away in a year, if it takes off like the CEO 7, it'll never go away because there are certain, models where if they, like you said, project the number of what's the dealer interest looking like and how many should we make, they should have stopped making the CEO 7 4 years ago, and they won't. So if you want to vote with your pocketbook, let Martin know what you think of this guitar. And we should try something.
That reminds me, Aaron actually had a CEO 7, but he doesn't like that big vintage V-neck. It's got a Golden Era Series heel on it, on the modified V, so it can be a handful, where these guitars, all the other 00Ls out there, are made with their high-performance neck, so much more comfortable modified low oval, 1 3/4 inch width nut, but it's still only tuned at 8th at the 12th fret, like their old 11/16 inch necks. So it's quite sleek and fast, very modern feel. And so, yeah, I think, and I can't wait to see one of these in person. And I'm sure, knock on wood, once the shops are open and people can come into showrooms and stuff, there are going to definitely be people who want to walk out with this guitar.
What do you guys think in the chat? On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to try to remember to do this for every model. What do you think of the 00L Earth? 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. Let us know in the chat. I won't tell you why I'm asking you to vote in the chat, but if you are a voter and you spend the time giving us your thoughts, you might be entering some kind of giveaway. I'm not sure. I'm going to think about this as we go along. Scale of 1 to 5, let us know in the chat what you think of the 00L Earth. On the scale of 1 to 6, let us know if we're pronouncing it wrong. Next up, we have the D13E. I'm going to let Spoon pronounce. I believe it's Ziricote. Is that right?
Ziricote, or Ziricote. It's probably more of a T than a T, but yeah, Ziricote.
All right. As long as I'm wrong, that's the important part.
Yeah. Well, I know, just like Americans say granadillo instead of granadillo because they don't, we don't expect to pronounce things in Spanish. Ziricote is a wood that is really taking off now. There's all kinds of guitar makers that are starting to use this. Collins has a limited, not even limited, a custom shop, jumbo, whatever they call that body size, with highly figured Ziricote this year for NAMM, and it's a really beautiful wood. I have some photos. I didn't think to have a Michael Dickinson, their exotic wood buyer, had sent me photos from Guatemala, I think, where he was while they were buying Ziricote, and it's got one log that's split open, so you can see this almost geonode sort of patterns to the wood, and I don't know if you have a shot of the back on this one or the GPC, but they really beautiful. They always make me think of Rorschach drawings. These really cool patterns, very rich blacks and reds and browns, and a very unusual like ghostly gray that runs through the ground. Oh, there's the GPC. So that's an example of the kind of rosewood-like grain, just like Granadillo. I think Granadillo actually is in the rosewood family. Ziricote isn't, but it's got a tremendous, deep, very bassy sound when it's in a all solid wood use, and so it rivals woods like Cocobolo and Guatemalan rosewood in that respect. These guitars, these 13s, and look at the cross grain on that spruce top. Isn't that just gorgeous? Both of them have that kind of that. Yeah. This is the 13 series. Is the high end of Martin's Road series, And so you get these beautiful woods. The Ziricote is actually a veneer. So it's basically got a core of solid kaya, which is has been called African mahogany by furniture makers going back to probably the 1700s. So it is a very dense reflective wood and very strong. So just like the CEO7, just like the SC13E that came out last January that has a beautiful koa veneer, and the other 13 koas that have a kaya core with the beautiful koa on the outside. This is a kaya core African mahogany back and sides with this beautiful Ziricote, but it also has Ziricote on the inside. And so I was thinking this D was going to sound just like the D13E koa, and it doesn't.
Oh. Huh.
When they were playing this for me with a good microphone, it's got they both have a really powerful bass to them, much more than I had expected. And so I think that Ziricote on the inside is reflecting the sound waves and still coloring the sound waves to a certain degree. And I got that from the CO7. Keep saying CO7, excuse me, the SC13E. I was surprised how much sort of koa-like shimmer it had for having a veneer, but it's still real Ziricote, real koa lining the inside of the sound chamber. So it does not sound exactly like the D13E koa. So really nice, really beautiful, great bang for the buck, really nicely affordable. Fishman MXT pickup system that has the onboard tuner, which is great, right inside the bass side of the sound hole. You don't see it from the audience, but it has a tuner that you can turn on, and it'll stay on, or you can turn it off, or it'll turn off automatically. And
what's an audience?
Really cool. What's that?
What's an audience?
Well, you don't get to see your audience anymore, but you still get an audience, as far as I know. I've been watching your stuff for a long time. Looks like you get a lot of people in your chat.
I'm going to get one of those shirts. I've been playing to half-filled rooms before it was cool.
So there's a full-size Dreadnought, beautiful Ziricote back and sides, gorgeous. So.
And it's worth mentioning in the Road series here, the Dreadnought is a full-size Dreadnought. It's not like a 16 where the Dreadnought depth becomes small like a triple O. These 13 trim in the Road series are, Dreadnought. The D is a Dreadnought depth all the way. And I remember, really having some expectations about this size and listening to a little bit of the demos on Martin's website and Martin's YouTube, and then hearing Fred Green talk about it earlier today on a live stream. He was impressed with how much bass the Ziricote does have. So I'm going to, when I finally get a handle on these guitars and I get to do some videos, I have some expectations of these guitars having what I would call at least more than enough bass. But again, let us know in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you think of the D in the Ziricote style, the D13E? Let us know, 1 being something that you would never even wish Spoon on, or 5 being the best. And please let us know what you think. Spoon, do you expect to like this guitar as much as the other Road Series instruments?
Yeah, and in fact, I thought I was going to like it as much when Craig was playing the GPC the other day. I was just really unprepared for how good it sounded in terms of that bottom end power, and a lot of the dynamics of the guitar is really coming from the spruce soundboard and the bracing and the size of the sound chamber and the shape of the sound chamber. The back and sides would add coloring and flavor, and they're kind of the sauce and spice of the real meat and potatoes of a guitar. I mean, that's why when I listen to Del McCoury, I can tell when he's playing his 50s D18 for a few seconds here and there, when he's doing one of his Lester Flat G runs, which you might as well call a Del McCoury G run these days because he's a master of that stuff. There's times when you get those flashes of, oh yeah, that's definitely mahogany. That's definitely his D18. But most of the time it's an acoustic guitar, and it's either a big acoustic guitar little acoustic guitar, different balanced acoustic guitars. And the Rhodes series is used by a lot of professional musicians who don't want to take their D28 into a roadhouse in Austin or St. Louis or whatever. And they're really designed for traveling, performing musicians. And those spruce tops are of really good quality and look gorgeous. They're really coming out with some spectacular spruce in the past couple of years at Martin on the Road series.
Oh yeah, guys! If you're just joining us,
because I want to look at that again.
If you're just joining us, we're taking a look at the new 2021 Martin models for NAMM Week, or what they were calling NAMM Believe in Music Week. I'm joined by my co-host Spoon Phillips, and typically this time of year, we would actually be at Martin. Or at least, come Thursday, we'd be heading to Martin to take a look at these guitars, get lots of photographs and videos. We don't have the guitars in person just yet. That's coming very soon. So what we're doing today in today's video is just discussing what we expect, our first reactions, kind of a hot take on the new models. Spoon's known about some of these models longer than me, which I never think is right, but that's another argument. There are certain things coming out this year that he expected to see 2 years ago that I've never heard about, so that tells you just how connected Spoon is. And before I go too far into this program and assume too much, most of you guys who know me know who Spoon is, but maybe some of you don't. Spoon can be found on One Man's, it's going to be onemans.com/guitar. He does just a heck of a job documenting a lot of Martin history and among other brands. It's not fair to say he's only Martin, but if you want to know more about Spoon, check him out at onemans.com/guitar. When you get there specifically, you'll see a very quick link to a beautiful write-up and all these new Martin models. I think Spoon put it up on his website, if not 2 days ago, it was yesterday, and I just got through checking it out. So don't leave this program just yet, but when you're done, head over there and let us know what you think of that. Spoon, the next thing we have to talk about is the GPC. You alluded to it a few minutes ago. The GPC, GPC 13E in the Rhodes series also has zero Cody back and sides. We're taking a really cool look at the back and top of this guitar. How different do you expect this to be compared to the DC, or I should say, compared to the D13 we just spoke about?
Well, the GPC, the Grand Performance body size, is, I would say, it's more akin to the OM than the orchestra models than to the Dreadnought. It's a good choice for somebody who wants a bigger Martin sound, but doesn't want that big squarish box and don't want to have to reach all the way around that. So it's not exactly the same. It's not as robust in the bass, but it's got a bigger bass than you're going to get off an OM, and it's a different voice than you get from an M, the quadruplet. And this is the full-size GPC. So it's a full-size body. It's basically a mini jumbo. That's what they would have called it, or a small jumbo is what it would have been called if Martin has been making these in the 70s. When Kevin Ryan I think he was the first one on the scene with this style of guitar, and other people very quickly followed suit. The most famous is Bob Taylor's size 14. And those are the ones that took off. That was kind of like, the Model T wasn't the first automobile, but it's the one that everybody thinks of because that's what became popular. Okay. So, and this is Martin's take on that style of a body. Jim Olsen also made his bones, making mini jumbos, like the ones that James Taylor plays, small jumbos. But this is Martin's version of that, and it definitely has a Martin sound. It has that fuller body resonance compared to a lot of other people's small jumbo style guitars. And you can see, just looking at it, you can see how much wider that bottom bout is than an OM, and it's a little deeper as well. So that gives it a different kind of voice. It's a little fuller, a little louder. I think of M's, quadruple knots, as being very even across, very even EQ. This definitely has kind of a Dreadnought scoop. So big bass, searing trebles, and the mids are there, but it's not as a flat as an EQ as you get from an amp. But I was really impressed with the sound of this guitar, and it was coming through like I couldn't recognize the mics, but fancy stereo mics that Craig Thatcher was playing, and finger picking. He was actually doing some finger picking with it, that really righteous, and again gorgeous, really nice price, very great choice for people who are looking for what's basically an entry-level professional level guitar. If they can't really go up to the GPC 28E or something like that. So long scale, but the body isn't quite as long as a dreadnought. So your fretting hand isn't as far out, so it's not quite as extreme an angle. So it's a little more ergonomically comfortable in that respect, as well as how it fits in the lap.
That's a good point. And short answer, if you can give me the Cliff Notes version, if somebody wanted to know which one should I get, the G or the D, what would make somebody choose the GPC over the Dreadnought if they were the only two, in this specific instance, being the 13E Ziricoti, if every store they went to had two in stock?
They're like me, the cutaway number one, if you need a cutaway. Number two, if you're a traditionalist and you want a guitar that looks like Hank Sr., looks like Stephen Stills and Young, Dreadnought. They call them Dreadnoughts for a reason. In fact, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. We talk about the double knot and the triple knot or the aught. The Dreadnought was a play on words because it was the biggest knot of them all, and it was much bigger than anything Martin had ever made in 1916 when they made the first one. So it was actually kind of poking fun at their naming culture in conventions. But the D size is that classic Martin look, has a classic Martin sound. The GPC is a newer kind of Martin sound. It's literally Martin's version of the Taylor size 14 and the Olson high-end small shop luthier kind of thing. And it has, how do you say this in polite company? It has guts, and it has really big round guts, and it's compared to some of those other brands that are a little have a little less meat in the body resonance and in the bottom end.
All right. Never mind what he thinks, guys. What do you think of the new GPC 13E Ziricoti? Please let us know in the chat. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. We do want to know what you think. This is all new to us. These guitars weren't on anybody's radar 1 week ago, and we'd love to know, what you're thinking of the new stuff. Don't forget, whether you do it now or later, please like this program. By that I mean hit the like button. I don't care if you genuinely like it from your heart. Please push like on your device, even if you secretly only kind of like it. You don't have to shop at Mari's Music. You don't have to tell someone else to shop at Mari's Music. But it's so helpful if you could just hit the like button. And, it really means a lot. This is a big grassroots thing. We're trying as hard as we can to be relevant on the internet without being pushy. So that's where I'll stop that speech. But thank you again for considering doing that.
Well, I'd like to make a quick speech because I've told this to a variety of people over the years since you and I met almost 20 years ago. I tell people that if there was a Martin dealer in Bedford Falls where It's a Wonderful Life took place, it would be Mari's Music. It's just the way I honestly feel about it, and we're very lucky that the 3 people who make up Mari's Music are as dedicated as they are and spend as much time as they do in a genuine small town business environment. And I've said this too, I have seen Maury and his better half in their bathrobes in the middle of the night filling boxes to send off to their customers. So
Picture that.
So they're around the clock. It's like, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Claus almost, the way they run the business.
Thank you. And I'm listening to what you're saying, and I just want to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. Are you saying that if I jumped off the bridge in Bedford Falls, you would be my Clarence?
Indeed. I remember, I'm almost related to Clarence, because when I first saw that movie, I realized that he looked almost exactly like my mother's father. He looked like, that's what my grandfather looked like. So
wow, that's awesome. You know,
so we're practically related.
Every once in a while, I'll come home and I'll say, "Hey, look, I'm giving out wings," and she bought me the bell where we can go. All right, so back to the program.
Excellent.
You don't want to hear that stuff, but that's really nice of you to say, Spoon. I appreciate you reading it, just like I put it on the cue cards. Next up, we have. I think we have to talk about some ukuleles. I'm not sure if Scooter's watching. If he is, this program's going to go twice as long as it wants to. One of the things we have here is the Martin concert uke. What do you know about this?
This is what you call a real ukulele. This is very similar to the ukes that Martin was making in 1929. Martin was the very first musical instrument company in America on the mainland to recognize the potential of the Hawaiian music craze that took off in 1912 at the Pan Asian exhibition in San Francisco. The Hawaiian pavilion was the big hit and the big rage, and took off like wildfire. It led to the guitar industry changing to steel strings because the Hawaiian style slide, you know, the playing a flat slide Hawaiian style guitars.
Yeah.
And Martin started making the Hawaiian style guitars, their first models that were built specifically for steel strings were Hawaiian guitars. Huh. They made ukuleles, but it wasn't until the Great Depression that the ukulele saved C.F. Martin and Company. Their ukulele business skyrocketed starting in 1929, 1930. Huh. And it was really what helped them survive the Great Depression. And as well as the innovation of Chris's great-grandfather. And he, Frank Martin, he was the guy that came up with that pushed the OMs, the Dreadnought, all that stuff. And he was a relatively conservative businessman, but in 1930s, he was the one that realized that just like the current Mr. Martin, that the legacy is extremely important and has to guide you, but it's the future that matters. And this ukulele kind of covers that, because this is an all solid, genuine mahogany ukulele. Big leaf mahogany, South American mahogany, just like the ukuleles that are being made in the 1930s. And it is solid ebony for the fretboard and bridge. It has a classic Martin uke look to it, that beautiful, but it's got that really nice little peak at the bottom of the fretboard that's really quite attractive. And the tuners look like friction pegs from the front, but they're modern, ultra-modern tuners that have a very good ratio, and they're not locking, but they're modern, locking in the modern tuner sense. So they have a very fine ratio, so you can really tune the note and they stay in tune. Very different from actual friction pegs they would have been using in the 1930s. Right. So it's a real, genuine, professional level instrument. So this is for serious ukulele players who want that serious tone. And I don't know how many of you out there have played a vintage uke. They made the concert size and tenor size. The tenors are bigger than the concert size, but they're both tuned the same, traditional ukulele tuning. And so the concert is the comfortable, like, travel size. It's not itty bitty like the soprano. It's it's like the standard uke. And similar to the one that they made of that guy that went to the North Pole with the Martin uke and that kind of stuff. And and it's and quite tuneful. I have to say, the other ukes that we're going to look at are very nice, but when I heard my friend Lorene from Martin playing on this, the sound is noticeably superior to the less expensive Martin ukes, as nice as they sound.
Huh. Jim asks, what is the tuning of ukulele? If I'm not wrong, I think it's GCEA. Is that right, Spoon?
GCEA, that sounds right. There's an alternate one that I think has a D. There's two standard tunings. That's for the tenor and the concert. The baritone ukes, which Martin hasn't made a baritone uke since the early 60s. That's actually the same tuning as the bottom 4 strings on a guitar. And you could certainly tune your ukulele to that if you want. When I say bottom, I mean the treble strings, treble and mid-range strings of the guitar.
Oh, we have a big announcement. I'm sorry to interrupt. Jack's dog has fleas. Come on, I'm funnier than that. I know I'm not the funniest thing on the internet.
What cartoon is that from? My dog has fleas. Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. Something from my early childhood. Some character said that.
Well, back when they made the first
question.
28.
When I said the strings, if you can remember what cartoon character said that.
He's lying. He doesn't give anything away.
This is a big boy, big girl uke.
Well, let us know in the chat what you guys think of this from a scale of 1 to 5. The concert uke, please let us know, 1 being the worst and 5 being you're probably going to buy it for Spoon for his birthday coming up in February. Speaking of ukuleles and buying Spoon things, we have the next one on deck is the OX. OXK, I believe, right? Did I say that right?
It's a OXK, yeah. It's a yes. So it's a single knot, except it's the ukulele size, single knot. So this is also concert size, and it's got this outrageous koa pattern. This is from the X series. So this is Martin's high pressure laminate, which is basically wood fiber and natural resins, making an artificial wood, as it were. And so very environmentally friendly, affordable. It has it allows them to use printed imagery of really beautiful wood. And I don't know if you have a shot of the back of this, but the back of this looks spectacular. So this is like this looks like the best koa you could possibly ever get on a concert uke, but for a lot less money. And it's basically impervious. You can take this to the beach, you can get salt water on it, you can get ketchup on it, you could get rye whiskey on it, you can do all 3 of those in the same trip to the beach, in fact. And and most importantly for me is it's impervious to weather and humidity and heat and cold. You can put it in your car trunk and forgot that it was in there, and take it out of the car trunk and take it from a cold environment to a hot environment. And it's really good for the campfire. Obviously, you don't want to get it so close that you're burning the thing, but compared to an expensive Martin ukulele, you can play it around the campfire and never have to worry about it. So great travel ukulele, great travel instrument for people who want to pick up the uke and learn the uke, so you can accompany yourself when you're serenading your sweetheart or a makeshift audience at a campfire site, and you in some place where you went backcountry camping and didn't want to lug a guitar. This is the perfect instrument for that sort of music.
Would you agree this might be the perfect uke to try if you're a guitar player and you want to just,
Yes, I mean, Martin considers this their entry-level ukulele, but at roughly $300, I think they go for, it's still a professional level instrument. This is an instrument to be proud of. It's an instrument that has a pretty tone. It's an instrument that is going to, the neck is not going to warp and come off in a year or two like an awful lot of musical instruments.
Good point.
in the world. It's like half of the acoustic guitars for sale in the world cost less than $500, but you get what you pay for. And so this is an entry for CF Martin Company. This is entry level, but this is a very good quality musical instrument that will last a very long time. And I think it looks gorgeous. I've never learned to play the ukulele, but when I first saw this, I actually saw mock-ups of this. And when I saw this back, that the one that they actually went with, I was like, I would love to own something like that. That would be a perfect starter uke for somebody like me if I really want to embrace the ukulele and take on the ukulele and decide later on if I might want to get a more expensive one.
It reminds me of the
that
times
just reminded me of something I was gonna I was gonna ask Martin about, related to other Hawaiian style instruments that I'm not going to mention right now because they've never actually made one. But once I saw this, I was like, wow, they could make an X series, and if they catch on, then they'll make more expensive ones. But anyway, I'm thinking out loud.
It reminds me of the times you were here and we had a uke that had to go on, on camera, and we have, so many hours left in our weekend to just, how many videos can we get done? And it's, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. And then Andrew would have to get on Google and find out how to tune them. And I'll admit it, I'm a shop owner that doesn't really look at the ukes. I'm curious to see how this one takes off. When I saw, part of these ukuleles in the email that, came around for the NAMM 2021, I had to do a little bit of work because I'm not really the kind of person that would go and play these on my off time. But I am interested to see what you guys think. Please, again, let us know in the chat. Scale of 1 to 5, what do you think about the little X Series ukulele? And it's last but not least of the ukuleles. We still have another one to talk about. It's the T1, and I believe it's a Streetmaster. This is really cool because I think the Streetmasters and the Dreadnought and the Triple O, I really wasn't sure what to think of those when they first came out as these are when you see pictures. When I saw them in person, I really do like them a lot. It's kind of polarizing. You could find some people that don't want to see this specific treatment done. It's not a sunburst per se, but it looks distressed. Spoon, would you be distressed if I asked you to talk about this ukulele for us?
Not in the least, but I would like to assuage some distress on some of our people who might be watching this video now or later that might be from the Hawaiian Islands, and they're actually called ukuleles, I think. Forgive me for trying to pronounce the ukulele, or something to that effect. We'll have to ask Boz, our friend Boz, who's actually Hawaiian, who always, I know, kind of cringes a little bit when he hears people call him ukes and says ukulele. But,
not to name drop, but last time I was at Martin talking about this, I think it was Ramin and Tim Teal, and I can't remember which one said which, so I'm terrible at telling stories. The subject came up in the hallway, and one of those people said to me, do you know how to pronounce that? He pronounces it wrong, and either Ramin corrected Tim or Tim corrected Ramin, and I think the right way was ukulele, and if I remember right, Tim Teal had bragging rights, so I think you're right.
Ukulele. Yeah. And I don't even think it's ukulele, really, but ukulele or something to that effect. But yes, but this is the Streetmaster ukulele, and I agree. I was the same way. I understand. I'm all for Martin trying different products. I'm definitely not one of those people that says Martin should only make things in style 18 and 28. Like there are lots of people out there, and
Aaron Short,
and but no, I think even Aaron appreciates the 42 when he sees one. But the 15s, first of all, brilliantly affordable, all solid wood instruments. One of the most affordable all solid wood guitars you can find is a 15, and they have special bracing. I mean, it's bracing they had developed for an earlier series, but it lightens up that mahogany top, so you don't have to wait 12 years for this hardwood top to break in. So I think they sound magnificent. Streetmaster thing, sure. I was the first time I'd heard of this, and I saw it, and it was like, Oh, come on. And then I actually saw one, and then I went there and I actually saw my person, and that's really handsome.
Yeah.
And it's not just distressed, it's vaguely distressed. It's supposed to sort of look like distress, but it clearly is artistically done. And it is so it's more of an artistic finish similar to a shaded top, shaded back sort of thing than just pretending like this is 85 years old. And I don't mind if I don't mind. I buy pre-faded jeans, so I don't mind if somebody wants a pre-faded guitar. And this is a tenor, so this has the instrument's probably 3 inches longer, and it's a little bigger, so it's a bigger sound chamber than a concert. And I think the string scale may be 2 inches longer, so the frets are farther apart. So this is a ukulele for somebody who's got bigger hands, or just wants a bigger instrument with a little more sound to come out of it. And if you go up the hierarchy, this has, in my ear, as a superior sound to the X model, partially because it's a little bigger, but also because it's made out of wood, so you get a little more resonance in the sing. I think the X, again, this was just from me hearing somebody playing it to me through first my speakers, and then I put on like real headphones that accentuate the bass and stuff to hear all this stuff. I thought the X series uke sounds very pretty. It has that classic X ring to it that the X guitars have, except in a much smaller thing, so it's mainly trebly. This has a little more body sound to it, but it's got a better reflection, body reflection. So you play the note, but then you also hear the harmonic sing a little bit. And so this was quite enjoyable. And again, for the money, definitely worthwhile for people who cannot afford to spend the kind of money you need to spend to get the concert uke with the solid tropical American mahogany and the full out classic Martin ukulele build. So I think it looks gorgeous, as does the D Junior, which we're about to look at.
And to your point, I think that comparing it to the X series is going to lack harmonics and overtones. So I do, I think you'd certainly hear the difference here.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, it's more than good enough. It's like I said, it's a well-made instrument that sounds good and isn't going to fall apart on you like cheaper ukuleles will. Where this is definitely a step up. So you're getting into real wood and real solid wood, and so you get a reflection out of the sound hole from the notes that just that has a more complex voice, basically, and sounds quite classic.
Nice. And it's a classic that you knew the next thing we were going to do. We must be getting near the end here of NAMM Believe in Music Week with Spoon Phillips, the Martin models for 2021. The next guitar on the docket is the D Junior 10 Street Master. So is that E as well? My eyes are terrible. We have
this has a pickup in it.
Yep. Yeah. So you have another distressed looking guitar. I think, and Spoon, you could consider reacting to this as well. I think the D Junior as a series completely took off, hit the ground running, and it's one of the best things that we stock here. We get them in, they go out as soon as they arrive. I think Martin's smart to just keep giving you more choices. When you take a look at this guitar, I mean, it's a little baby version of it's a little baby version of Spoon Phillips inside the guitar. I honestly forgot I did that. You could also do this and get him out of there.
Hey, Aaron, it smells great in here.
This is going to either make sound hole sniffing way cooler or way worse.
Wow, now that's a sound hole. What beautiful aroma.
Don't be such a sound hole. Tell us about this guitar.
Well, the aroma of the sound hole, being Sapelli and or Sipo, though I'm pretty sure this is Sapelli, is quite spicy, and it works really well. It mixes really well with the cedar kerfing, so you get quite a manly cologne smell out of this guitar. That's for Aaron Short, who loves to sniff sound holes. This guitar, I hate to break it to people who've bought a D Junior, but I think this is the best sounding D Junior, and I think people are going to be really surprised how good this guitar sounds. Craig was playing with a finger picks and a thumb pick and through a microphone, and it sounded gigantic with a really nice bass on this. So I'm again, this is me hearing it through media, that other than the natural ether. So I can't wait to play one myself, because I think having a mahogany top on this size body warms it all up, and it had legitimate. I mean, it sounded like a much bigger guitar than it is, and so people have never seen one of these. It's the Dreadnought shape, slightly altered from the actual Dreadnought shape, because they figured out the physics of the sound chamber needed to be changed a little bit. And I think you can see, I think the top is slightly rounded. The upper bout is slightly rounded where it meets the body compared to a traditional Dreadnought. I'm not sure what else is quite different about it. But it is a great travel guitar, obviously, but also, comfortable couch situation. And I just think having that solid African mahogany top was an accidental stroke of genius for them, because I was so impressed with the bottom end and the mid-range fullness of this instrument from what I was seeing on the live, here. This is what it sounds like.
And
thing that
Spoon,
I got to see.
You must be aware, and a lot of people in the chat would say the same. We can talk so many times and so much about guitars and how the top influences the sound, what it's made of, the size influences sound, the bracing influences sound, and unless I'm wrong, I think a lot of us get caught up in what is the most projective, how can we add projection, how can we keep going higher and higher with the mid-range and the projection of an instrument, which is fine when it's triple O or an OM or a Dreadnought. When you get back down to something like an O or a Dreadnought Junior or something, conversely, I think you can look at a guitar like this and put a really bright, loud Sitka Adirondack top on this, and it's not going to be as flattering as, I think, in this specific situation when the guitar gets this little. Let's take away some of that high mid-range, let's bring some bass back in, or at least mute the top end so the little bit of bass this guitar has could sound like enough in certain situations. So when you look at a Junior, and to a bigger extent maybe 10 years ago with the LXM and the LX1, maybe it's not fair to say that you always want to go spruce top, because the great qualities of a guitar this small might be better served by helping the bass come back to life a little bit.
Well, I think that's true to the point that some makers out there will make a guitar look like this. It has a spruce top because they just want to go with the look, and I have to admit this is based on my preference, because I really like the sound of the 15 series guitars, and it sounds, I've said this many times, sweet, whatever that means to me. May not translate to somebody else's ear that sounds sweet, but they've always had this really pretty thing in the trebles that's different than a Sitka pretty, and there's I guess a different kind of warmth that permeates through the entire range, not just in the bottom end, not just in the low mids, but all the way across. And I think that's a very good observation on your part, Maury, that the smaller bodies can use some help when it comes to that sort of thing. And it's one of the reasons they put Granadillo on the double knot 16 and triple knot 16, but not the Dreadnought or the GPCs, because Granadillo sounds really helps make a smaller guitar sound fuller and bigger, and can be a bit too much on a bigger guitar.
I forgot about
And
that. Yeah.
so, but this, yeah, no, I'm looking very forward to playing one of these. I think I predict that a lot of people are going to say this is the best sounding one, and and because of the wood, because the wood's involved, and because of what that hardwood top does to a sound shaper this small,
Yeah.
in this shape.
What do you guys think? Is he right? Please let us know in the chat. Vote from 1 to 5. What do you think of the D Junior 10 Streetmaster? 1 being you wouldn't even wish this on Aaron Short, and 5 being you would probably buy it for your best friend. So we do want to see what you think of these instruments. I hope you guys are enjoying this program. We got all of the 6 strings out of the way. Only thing left we have to talk about in today's broadcast is going to be a 12 string. So I'd be very curious to see, by show of hands, how many people own a 12 string or want to own a 12 string. It feels to me like every couple of years Martin puts one away for a little bit of time. They don't offer any 12 strings. It comes back around and they see popularity, or they see the market. They bring another one to production. It's been a few times now in the last 10 years that Martin has discontinued and reintroduced a 12 string. And Todd, if I'm not wrong, this is not the first time that they've made a 16 series Grand J12. What do you know about that?
I'm trying to remember, I meant to look that up. I believe they did, but was it a Grand J or was it a J?
It was Grand.
I bet.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Maybe I'll look it up right now. Hold on one second. But, well, if they did, it was a while ago, and it didn't have the specs of this one, I can tell you.
No, but I think the name's been recycled.
I'm about to let me just see if I see it real here. Nope, that's it. So one of the differences is back then it probably would have been mahogany of some kind. This is East Indian rosewood. So it's going to be, you're going to get that lush, warm overtone thing going on. But also, this has the triple knot body depth.
Yep.
So that's exciting. And they've done this now they've converted the entire 16 now series, I think. For a while, they were holding on to the mahogany dreadnought, had the regular dreadnought depth. But I think the entire 16 series, as of 2021 now, is all triple knot depths on the big bodies. Yeah. So GPC and the Ds have been for a while, and now we have the Grand Jumbo. And so you have what is Martin's largest top, and this top was used, I know early on it was used to the Pete Seeger baritone guitars, and then they had the Grand J's came out. There's big mammoth 12 strings, but this has the triple knot body depth. So still have the very wide top, wide back, shallower depth, and just like the Dreadnought and the Grand Performance, it is ideal for being on huge stages or in big arenas or big performance venues where you run into feedback issues, and because it takes out some of that the phenomena that you get with Martin guitars, particularly with Dreadnoughts, that you get these wavering what do they call? What's the word I'm looking for? You have your fundamental, and you have
standing
flat partial's not the one I'm looking for, but that can cause problems both with recording and with being live, and particularly with rosewood. But
like
having a shallow body kind of gets rid of that. And when whether you're plugging in or using a mic, the same phenomenon exists. But it also makes it much more comfortable. And this is a really wide bottom bout. So shallower body, much more comfortable. And the sound of this thing is, I think, truly unique among Martin 12 strings. And I don't know how many people out there remember Leo Kottke's first couple of albums, the 12-string songs that he was doing. But that's what immediately came to mind. Fred Green called this thing a piano it's a harpsichord because you get that harmonics going with the 12 strings, and you get the overtones going from the solid Sitka spruce, and with the rich coloring you get from the rosewood that introduces extra harmonics, but it's not the big boomy bottom end that you get from a jumbo or dreadnought typical 12 string. It's more like the M sound, where it kind of flattens the EQ and spreads it out. And immediately it said, "Oh my God, that sounds like Leo Kottke's first album." His 12 string was built by a guy named Bojo Panunovovic. So they just call him Bojo. He's no longer with us, but he made these big tank 12 strings, and they had big bodies, but the wood was really thick, so they're basically built like a brick smokehouse. And that's why he was not getting a lot of boom out of his guitars, because the wood was so thick. But you could just beat the stuffings out of them. You could play them hard as you possibly can. Well, when I heard Craig Thatcher playing this guitar through the mics, glorious. They just this tapestry of notes and overtone and harmonic and harmonizing strings, and people are gonna love this. People walk into guitar stores, they're gonna pick this up, and they're gonna swear an oath when they hear this thing, when they strum it. So you still have the comfortableness, but it's still a huge sound.
And I noticed
very successful.
It has scallop bracing, and I guess I want to ask you, when you recognize that the body's
scallop bracing, and it's long scale. Martin usually doesn't make long scale 12 strings, but they made the long string, I think, to compensate some for the shallower body. So they wanted to get more tension. They wanted to get as much tone out of this top as they could. So yeah, long scale, scallop braced, but special scallop bracing. Tim Teal developed this bracing for this top size a few years ago, and they did a lot of experimenting. And first of all, you get an extra tone bar. So you have 3 tone bars below the X brace, and he does a special kind of scalloping. So not only is it scalloped, but it tapers, so the bracing gets thinner as it reaches the outer edges, and on the X brace, I think, and on the tone bars. So it's special grand jumbo bracing that, as far as I know, is identical to the other grand jumbos. So it's not just exclusive to this model.
I thought I had a picture of the back there, and I don't. But I think from what I heard in a couple of YouTube clips,
back
it
is
sounds
very
huge.
nice, straight grained rosewood. And yeah, you could say and it's a 16 series, so it doesn't have a center strip, so it looks like one giant, solid, beautiful counterpane or tablecloth of beautiful straight grain rosewood. I was going to say I really like the back on the Junior too. One thing we didn't mention about the D Junior is it comes with a USB port in with the pickup. The D Junior, so you can record directly into your computer from that. And they've done that with a few models here and there, and I have a feeling in the future it's going to become almost a standard feature. But right now it is on that D Junior. It's not on this. This gets the VT Enhance pickup system, which gives you the volume and tone control, and the enhanced sensor that's on the wheel is on the bass side, and that goes to a bridge plate sensor. So you have the undersaddle pickup and a bridge plate sensor, and you can blend in so you can get the body resonance, and particularly for people who do the percussive stuff. And not just that, just when some people want to hear when their thumb, palm muting, kind of doing that Neil Young palm mute. They want to hear that body resonance like you would from a microphone. And when I played these things, I typically only dial it in like 5 to 10%. Some people turn it way up, but really successful, big, lush 12-string sound. Really nice.
can't wait to I can't wait to get all these guitars here at the shop and, you know, spend some time with you independently and together, seeing what these things sound like and look like. And I do want to say thank you very much. Guys, let us know in the chat, what do you think of the new 12-string on a scale of 1 to 5? What would you think? And the reason I've been asking you guys to vote this whole time, everybody who voted is entered into an opportunity to win Spoon's Lost and Haunted Ways on CD and 8-track. But I don't have the 8-track here, I only have the CD. So I can only ship to the United States, but if you live in the U.S., you've had a good time in this program, please let us know what you think of the 12-string. I'm going to randomly take a look at the chat after the whole thing is over and replay it on YouTube. So within the next 24 hours, I will pick anybody's name randomly who took the time to vote. That's a hint. If you haven't voted at all during this program, you still have one more chance. Let us know what you think of that. Also, let us know what you think of me having Spoon on. We don't do it often enough. Hopefully, sooner than later, we're going to have Spoon in this specific room. All the videos are going to just take a giant leap forward, and it's going to get a lot better here. The content on our YouTube channel will just blossom again when he gets back here. But I do want to say a genuine thank you very much to Spoon for taking the time. We didn't cover everything, and we could certainly go a lot longer into the fine details, but I do want to take this chance to say thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say we got everything that's going to be regularly, generally available to the public. This is not a big show for Martin, and though it's still a big show. I mean, you look at that's an enormous amount of musical instruments.
Oh, yeah.
I think Chris Martin wanted to get back more into ukuleles because they're still, I was going to say big, but they're not big. They're popular, and they're continuing to be popular. But also, we have something in the 16 series, nothing in the standard series. There's an awful lot of things that have been pushed to 2022. That's all I am allowed to say about that. And maybe July, I don't know. I think they're waiting to see what the climate is like around the world in terms of the health crisis and economically and stuff. Who knows if something that's currently not going to be seen until January 2022 may show up at Summer NAMM in July if they're having a Summer NAMM. So, but yeah, it's still a good showing. It's much more than a lot of other manufacturers are daring to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's helping keep people employed at the Martin factory. As Robert said the other day on the show you guys are watching, the factory is whirring away. Everybody who can work at home is being forced to work at home. They're being very safety conscious with their workers. And I would just like to put in a quick plug, since you mentioned my album, on my personal musician site, which is tspguitar.com. I now have some tabulature available. That's from the album, and I hope to have more in the future. Right now there's 3 tunes available, and I'm getting some requests for some others, and it is a painstaking process, so we will see about that. But I wanted to put in that. tspguitar.com is my personal site, and you used to be able to see the advertisement for my custom Martin guitar that was available for sale, but Morey has sold out of them. Happy to say Morey's Music has sold out of them. So maybe someday there'll be another one, a little more affordable TSP design guitar someday if the world economy gets back to the point where that it's worth doing. So touch wood on that too. So,
in the meantime, if you want to do a TSP OXK uke, we could, start small. He didn't say no, folks. I think we have to order 500 of them. That's the problem, But no, sincere thank you again, Spoon. We got to get together again. Maybe before long we can do more of this, even if we don't have the opportunity to play these guitars. If you guys in the chat have had a good time, please consider sharing this. This is a lot of fun to watch on the replay. It helps us a lot if you clue people into this, even if the show's almost over. Maybe many of you guys are watching this on the replay. If you are, you're from the future, and I should tell you that thank you very much for coming. And we will be putting links to all these products in the description below, along to tspguitar1mans.com. One more quick plug for our pal Aaron Short. You got to see him on youtube.com/Aaron Short Music. And really, frankly, if you have any questions about anything you saw here today, any people you saw here today, just shoot me an email, support@mauricemusic.com. after the program's over. If you guys want to know more about Spoon, more about Aaron, more about any of these great instruments, please do let us know. We have them all on order, and we'd love the opportunity to earn your business. If you guys like what you saw, please subscribe. Again, Spoon, you make my day. Anytime we go on the air, if you could just give me maybe 1 more minute notice before we could make sure everything's working, I think it would just be even better.
I got caught up. Aaron had a representative from G7th Capo today, and I was caught up in all of that and lost track of the time.
Well, that's a good excuse.
Since you were doing a plug for Aaron with your mug, though, you didn't hold it in front of the camera, so we couldn't see it.
Oh.
So why don't you try that again? There we are. Soundhole Sniffers coffee mug. Well, this is a plug for Wilson's Mighty Fine Hamburgs in Findlay, Ohio, my hometown, which is where Dave Thomas got the idea for Wendy's.
Is that right?
From. So,
talk about targeted marketing. That's pretty good.
Yes, exactly. But Wilson's much better than Wendy's.
Raise your hand if you thought we were going to talk about Wendy's hamburgers today on this program. Anyway,
have a good day, everybody.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. Spoon, thank you so much. Don't forget, check out Aaron's YouTube. He's going to be online all week long. I'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Brendan and Skip from Martin. We're going to check and see if anything Spoon said today is accurate. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're going to see what he said right, what he said wrong, and we're going to give away 2 CDs tomorrow. So please watch again.
Don't tell them I stole all their thunder. So
you might have to come back in the chat, Spoon, and correct them if I know you.
So. I'll never hear the end of it. So,
well, you're good at something. You got to do what you're good at. But again, thank you so much for everybody in the chat. We really appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Mari's Music TV.